Hey guys, this video will be dip nails using regular acrylic powder and tips. I do this on myself and I have been doing this for 3+ years on myself and on my clients, and it normally lasts 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes even longer. I usually just do a fill, or you can completely remove it and start over. I will be using a straight pusher and pushing back my cuticles. With the straight pusher, you just got to be more gentle. Make sure that you do not hit the cuticle too hard because it is a little sharp and you can cause damage or injure your client's cuticle as well. And now I'm going to be using one of my favorite cuticle bits. This is from ETA. I'll put the link down below, and I'm just removing the cuticle that I have on the nail plate and pushing back my eponychium to make sure that I get as much of the dead cuticle out of the nail plate. Something I get asked on my comment section, especially when my dip videos, I have 2 if not 3 videos, I'll link them down below, but the question is, why do I use glue and why do I use regular acrylic and an activator, if I can use anything else and if it works. Honestly, I've had many people try different things and tell me that it works for them, and that's great. You can definitely try other things, but personally I prefer to use regular acrylic or dip powders with the activator and glue. I prefer the glue that I mentioned because that's my favorite, but I do want to finish my Kiara Sky. It's just I've had issues with the bottle, but that's okay. But it's honestly all preference. Anything works if it works for you. That is how I see the nail industry. If it works for you, then it works for you, and I've done this for quite a bit and I haven't had any issues with the way that I do it. So that is the only reason why I still stick to the way that I do things. I'm using the tips from Noonie Nails, and I like these because they have a nice C curve. And I'm using my favorite glue from Born Pretty. It's from Aliexpress. I'll put the link down below. It is my favorite glue for dip nails. It is my favorite glue for applying crystals and for applying my nail tips. And I'm just showing you how I apply the nail tips. Now, after I apply the glue on the plastic nail tip, I make sure I fan it a little bit just to get it dry a little bit more, to be a tackier base so that it adheres better. And I'm gonna show you on this next clip just how I measure, how I apply my nail tips, because I did get asked this in my comments as well. I follow where the nail grows from the sidewalls from the cuticle, and then I drag it down. That is how I know exactly how to measure it, because this nail, purposely I left it crooked just like that, so you can see that it looks funny at the end by the free edge, but I'm actually following the way my nail is growing out, so that way the nail goes on straight and it doesn't curve. If you follow the curve of the end of the nail, then that's how you get slanted nail tips. So you always want to make sure you follow the outgrowth of the nail from the cuticle down. That way it's straight, just like you see, and it's not sideways or bent. And I also do a little lifting, and then I press down when I apply the nail tips. And I just make sure, see, like this one is a little bit too big, so I wanted to do this on purpose so I can show you. And I file off the sides. Just, every time you file, do the same amount on both sides, because if you file one side too much, you'll have a crooked nail tip, and it happens super fast. So after I file the sides, I see that it's evened from the outgrowth of the nail, sidewall to sidewall. That's how you want to match them. And I gently push it a little bit up, and then I bring it down. Any excess on the sides, if it's too bulky or too wide on the outside of the nail tip, you can always follow that down. But as long as where the nail tip meets the nail is matching the sidewalls, that's what you want. And you just want to press it in. Now I'm just measuring my nails, making sure that they're the same measurement, because I don't want one to be longer than the other one. And when it's my own nails, I mean, sometimes I just don't care. I go too fast and I just want to get it over with. I don't know why. But when I work on my clients' nails, I literally could stare at their nails to make sure every angle, it's hilarious. But for me, I don't know why it's always different. When I do my nails, I just want to be done and over with it. But I love and enjoy taking my time with my clients. So you just want to measure all your nails to make sure that they match even lengths, because you don't want to have uneven nails. Now I'm using my straight nail clipper, and I'm just clipping the sides because I do not want to file any extra nail tip, even though filing a nail tip is really easy and fast. It's just, we have to work smarter, not harder sometimes, well, most of the time. But just filing off any of the sides, because I don't want a really wide nail. I don't want it to be extremely coffin, but I do want it to be more of a sharp square. I couldn't think of the word. So you just want to take off the sides if you ever need to save yourself some time. Now I'm just grabbing my file. This grid is 100 on one side and 180 on the other. And if you file this way, up and down on the free edge, you'll get a really nice sharp crisp free edge. So you just file down the sidewalls, making sure it's what you want. At the same time, you're filing on top of the nail because I want to take off that shiny layer of the nail tip. Now for my dehydrator, I use alcohol and I use my brush and take off all the dust particles and anything on the nails, as well as hydrating. I'm showing you can use both the Born Pretty and you can use the Kiara Sky. You can see all the nail bites because I struggle with this, but I've had issues. I'm using my Glam Glitz Color Pop Collection Berry Bliss. It is the color I have on. I know it looks a lot more pink on the powder, but on my nails it's more of a hot pink, or more of a red if you want to say, but it just turns that color when I use it as dip. And this is the clear Young Nails powder that I'm going to use. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is building. So this is a seal protector. I'm going to show you, this is basically the activator. So I'm going to first use the base, which is glue. Base is glue. If it says cyanocrylite, that's what it is, glue. And I'm using these tubes that I suck the powder in to put it on top of my nails. It's just, for me, it works easier and cleaner. And I am putting... So I'm just putting a little dab in the center of the nail, only where the nail tip meets the nail. That's the only place I'm doing it. And it's actually a little bit higher. You see the nail tip, it's a little bit lower, and then I put the dot between the nail tip and where the nail meets and a little bit higher, because that's where I want to build my little apex. And on my nails, I don't do a crazy apex or a really strong apex because I don't really have issues with my nails breaking or not having enough strength for them not to break. But depending on your client, some clients really need a strong apex, and especially if they have really long nails. So it really depends on the nail length as well. But like I said, you can take what you want from this video, and hopefully anything that you take helps you. And so like I said, so the first step is you want to make sure that you build a nice apex. So we are just building the foundation with the clear powder. Whenever you build nails with dip and use extensions, you want to make sure you focus on the foundation first and then worry about the color. So that's what we're doing. We're adding a little, basically a little dot. Think of it like a little dot that's building up to be able to give that strength. So these are the brushes that I use. The blue one I use for clear, and the pink one I use for any color powders. And it's just to remove because they're so soft. The bristles are super soft. They don't scrape or leave marks on the nails. So after it dries, give it a few seconds and then you can dust it off. And then we're going to work on the second layer. So the second layer is around the same spot. So you're going to go closer to the cuticle, and the whole center of the nail all the way down to the free edge is where you're going to apply the glue. So again, it's going to be a little bit lower than the cuticle. So I would say 2/3 of the nail, the center of the nail, and go down. You don't want to add it on the side walls or do the whole entire bottom nail, because that's where you're going to build. You do not want to build white nails. You want to make them thick in the center, thin on the free edge, and thin on the cuticle, and on the side walls, very thin. So that is exactly what I'm doing to other nails, just doing it in the center. And if you need to go back in to get more glue, because sometimes the nails are super long or you didn't grab enough glue, which is totally fine. And I know it's a little blurred out when I go into the dip powder, and I apologize. My stand broke, the one that holds my phone, so that's why my video is more to the side. It's usually straight from the top to the bottom, so I have to order another stand so I can make sure that everything comes out more clear and better. So I do apologize for that. This is how they look after the second layer. And now I'm going to dust off all this, and I'm actually going to add the activator, which hardens the glue, because I am working in a lot of layers. So I have to activate it and make sure that I seal it, because if I don't, by the time I get to the top coat, which is the clear again to seal everything, it will be gummy inside and it wouldn't be hard and strong. So your nails will not last at all. So you want to make sure, depending on how many layers you do, I would say from 2 to 3 layers, then you seal it, 2 to 3 layers, then you seal it, because it's a lot of steps. It is, and it is a pain in the butt if you don't like to take steps and you don't like to take your time doing nails, which I totally understand, but it is worth it. So I highly suggest, if you want these nails to last, to take your time with it. Work fast with the glue though, but take your time and always try to do all the steps, because if you don't, you won't get the results. So now I did the same thing that I did previously. Start close to the cuticle, 2/3 of the nail, but completely do the entire nail all the way down to the free edge. You will see again me showing you how to do this. I don't know, it's so satisfying to put the powder on top. It's just my thing. So I am putting the glue 2/3 of the nail very close to the cuticle, bringing it down and doing the entire nail, including the side walls, all the way down to the free edge. This is when you can actually do that whole nail, and you go into the powder and you completely fill up the nail. Now, if you don't like dip nails, you don't agree with dip nails, then this video is definitely not for you. And I probably should have said that in the beginning, but this is not for you. I'm doing this for people that actually enjoy dip nails, that like dip nails, and that offer dip nails, just because, you know, I've learned plenty of things out there because of videos that I've watched. And not every video is going to be for you or is going to be your type, as well as not every YouTube is going to be for you or your type. And that's totally fine. That's understandable. But if this video can help, or if you like this video, that's all I wanted to do, to put something out there, some content that people will enjoy, that nail techs, or just people that want to do their nails at home and save a few bucks, you know, that can learn something from it. So I do this to all the nails. Make sure it's 2/3. You don't want to get too close, because we're not trying to get the cuticle too thick. And this is how they look. Pretty funny. So now we're just gonna dust off the nails, and now we're gonna do a complete nail. Yay, finally, right? About time. Now we're gonna get the glue and do the entire nail from the cuticle down. And doing this, you definitely have to go back into the bottle, because there's usually not enough glue, or it starts feeling dry. So you have to go back in, because you want to make sure that you get enough, and that's totally fine. And if you don't have to, great. But you do the entire nail, and you want to make sure you really do get the sides and the free edge, because you don't want to leave gaps or any imperfections. Now after this, if for some reason you have gaps or any missing pieces, do not be afraid to go back in, but don't just put glue on the gaps or on the missing pieces, because then that will turn into a ball. So you have to make sure if there's any missing, you have to go through the whole nail to make sure it's an even layer, unless you're fine with afterwards filing down that extra ball, which is sometimes a pain in the butt. So I would just suggest to do the entire nail and have it even, than having a ball because you just put a little dab on a certain place that you miss. I hope that makes any sense. And then after I do this, I will use the activator. So I will use the seal protectant to seal this, because I did do 2 more layers, and I just want to make sure that it's fully cured, it's fully dry, so that it's a strong nail. So that is why we take all these steps. If you don't have to, you definitely don't need to. If it works for you, that's awesome, but I really do recommend you do it, because like I said, especially if you're doing this for some, I keep saying like I said a lot, don't I? But if you do this for clients, they would expect their nails to last minimum 3 weeks, I would think. If you're paying for someone to do your nails, you need them to be strong, for them to take their time, and for them to last. You know, that's how you get people to keep coming back to you. So if you're doing this at home and you're more like me, that you're just kind of like, I just want to get this done and have pretty nails, then that's fine. You can stick to two coats of clear and just your color, which is fine. I'm not sure how long they'll last, but you know, you can definitely do it. So after this, I'm gonna dust off all the acrylic powder, and I am going to file. Well, first put the activator and then file. So I'm using the Seal Protect, which is the activator, and then I'm going to file. And you make sure to be generous. It's better to be generous because you want to make sure it gets in there very, very well, and it gets all the powder and all the glue so that it can crystallize and harden and you won't have any issues. So I give it a few seconds, and then I get into filing. The reason I am filing is because if you add color on top of this, believe it or not, you will still have some sort of bump and bulky nails and uneven nails. The sidewalls will still be a little chunky. I mean, no matter what you do with dip, it could get bulky. So you want to prevent that. You want to be as even as possible, as clean as possible. So when you add the color, after the 2 layers of color that you will do, even 3 if your color is very light, you want to be able to add that clear acrylic on top and just gently clean off the nail. Do a little bit of filing. You don't want to sit there and file and file and file and then end up filing some of the color because there was a bump or an unevenness in the nail. So I highly suggest you file the base, the structure of your nail, and then add your color. It will be so much smoother. You won't have any issues. It is time consuming and it is an extra step, but trust me, it will benefit you a ton if you do file your nail and clean it up way before you add the color. And it doesn't affect the fact that you're filing and working on the nail and then reapplying dip. It won't affect it. It won't peel off separately. It won't break easier, nothing like that. Now I'm just showing you my cap. It says R and D. R is for regular acrylic, which I use with monomer, and D is for dip. The reason why I have 2 is because on my books, I have 2 books. I have a dip book and I have a gel polish book. Now, and I also have swatches for my acrylic nails. Now, the reason why is because they look different. They really do. It's the same color, the same powder. I'm just showing you where I'm applying the color. 2/3 from the nail is where I'm applying the color. You can go lower if you want your apex to be a lot lower. I like my apex a little bit higher, but you can definitely do it a lot lower. But they do apply separately. I'm going right back. So me doing it here on the dip, you see how bright it looks, but when I actually apply the top coat towards the end, it's more of a red pink because of the glue and the activator. That's just the color it turned. Now when I do the acrylic nails using this color, it's more of a pink, a little bit closer to the actual powder color. That is why I have them labeled in 2 separate ways. I have a whole tour video of my nail studio as well as a video on my swatch books where I swatch all my things. I'll link all those below, and any other videos. I have 2 more dip videos. I could probably even have 3 more dip videos on regular length nails down below that I'll link, so if you guys want to check those out as well. And this video was requested by one of my subscribers, and I'm definitely going to link it on her comment where she wanted to know if this is possible with nail extensions. Because, I mean, I try my best to hear you guys out. I might not reply to every single body, but I do try to take my time and reply to as many people as I can, and I try my best to do the videos that you ask for because they are for you and you are the one watching them. So I want to make sure that you're enjoying what you're watching. So this is what I'm doing to all the nails. I am gonna do it 2/3 like I said. Make sure, especially with the color, that you get the sides and the free edge. Because if you don't, when you're filing, the sides are gonna look clear and it's just gonna be color right on top. And I mean, that's fine if you guys like that look. And some clients do and some clients don't. So I would just suggest just making sure you get the side walls and the free edge very well. Now, the thing about using regular acrylic powder to do dips, especially color, because clear goes on really nice. It's still not as fine as regular dip powder. That's the difference. Dip powder is a lot finer, so it goes on smoother and it's so much thinner. with color regular acrylic, it is a little bit chunkier, as you can see. So it's not harder to work with. It just takes a little bit more practice, if that makes sense. So you will not waste, but use more product using regular acrylic color than using regular acrylic clear. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I hope I am. Now I'm just dusting it off and I'm showing you how it looks. Now I'm going to do the entire nail. And like I said, you can always go back into your glue to get more glue to make sure you fully cover the nail, because this is the color. This is not for structure. This is for color, and it's just to cover the entire nail. You want to make sure you get as close as you can to the cuticle without actually touching the cuticle. I have gotten a lot of questions about what's the difference between regular acrylic and dip powder. There's no difference. It's just, like I said, it is finer than regular acrylic. It's specifically made to be able to do dip nails very smoothly and nicely. It is just glue on the base. You can use gel polish, a gel base, and then do the powder, and then do the gel base, and then do the powder back and forth. And in between each layer, you're going to be curing it in an LED or UV lamp, depending on the gel polish you use. So don't be afraid to try things. I mean, you'll see plenty of things out there. I say experiment. Try out things. Try out different brands. Mix brands. Do whatever you think you want to do. Don't let a company tell you can't work with something else, or don't do something else. Now, that doesn't mean that it's gonna work every single time, because there's products that really don't work with other products, and there's products that work amazing with other products. Like, I love mixing products, because no matter how much I truly love a brand specifically, it doesn't mean I'm gonna love every single product that they have to offer. It's just, it doesn't work that way, at least not for me. And there's other brands that I can't stand them, but there's that one item or one product that I'm like, oh, I still have to buy it because it works for me. It's amazing. I love it. So don't ever be afraid to try out new things, and don't be afraid to try out things that are on sale or things that are a lot less expensive, because, you know, some brands are more known than others, and that's totally fine. One thing I won't ever leave is the gel bottle, because their gels are just, I just can't. I love them. They are expensive, but to me, they're worth it. And there's other things that, like glitters and encapsulating nail art, that I'm just like, I can find them anywhere for any price. So that's the stuff that I don't mind buying at a discount or low price. But when it comes to my monomer, and when it comes to my acrylic powders, I invest in that, and I make sure I get stuff that works for me and that has great reviews. So don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't try or like or enjoy any product. You have to test it out yourself to know. Now I'm just dusting off all the powder from my nail. See how quickly that changed? It's more of it looks like an orange on camera, but in person it's more of a red, hot pink. Now I'm going to use clear to cover the color, because since this is regular acrylic and you file it off, you will leave scratches and imperfections on regular acrylic. I've noticed with dip color powders, you don't have to always cover them. Some of them you do. I've learned that some of the colors you do, like the darker browns and blacks, you do have to cover them because they'll leave marks. But most dip color powders or glitters, you don't have to. So it really depends. I say still do it to protect the color and the, you know, the nail, to make sure that it protects it and it files any unevenness out. this is how my nails look. I haven't filed the sidewalls or anything yet. I'm just showing you how they look, the thickness, the sidewalls. You can always thin out the thickness if you don't like. We're using an electric bit, going underneath the nail and just making sure you're doing that. Now I'm gonna use my sealer, my activator, and be extremely generous. Just don't go crazy adding it to your skin because you can have an allergic reaction, or a client can as well. But completely submerge your nails into the activator because you want to make sure it penetrates all the layers. You did do 3 layers, so you want to make sure that you get it in there and it fully hardens and crystallizes. And now I'm getting into filing. Now you can file off the shape you want. Of course, I would always say file off the shape beforehand. But if they decide they want one pointy or more round, you can definitely do that. It is hard enough to be able to file with an electric file as well. It is already hardened and crystallized, so there is no worries or problems with that. And you can file off the top as well to even it out. You can thin out the free edge if you like more of a thin nail. You can file closer to the cuticle. You can do whatever you want here and file it off as much or as little as you choose to. This is how my nails look after being filed. Now I am going to use cuticle oil after I dust it off because I don't like my cuticles to look shiny or have any kind of flashback or anything on camera. So I like to always really submerge cuticle oil in my cuticles and then use my antibacterial soap. This one's amazing, I got from Walmart, and I use the brush, and I always tell my clients as well as myself to scrub up anything that's on the nails from the front and the back to make sure that you have nice healthy nails but that they don't look like they're drenched in oil. And I'm using my favorite top coat, shiny top coat. I love this top coat. I am about to finish it. It's very sad, but if you need a nice gel top coat, I highly recommend this one, or the gel bottle top coat, the extreme top coat. Those are my 2 favorite. I don't know if I can really tell much of a difference between both of them. I love them both the same, but I am about to finish both of them, so I'm most likely gonna purchase both. Yeah, it's gonna have to be because I really do like these top coats. I've tried other top coats, I've been sent other top coats, and it's just I just can't leave these 2 top coats. But now you're just going to top coat it and put it into the lamp. You can use regular top coat. You don't have to use gel. That's really your preference. Or you can use the top coat that comes with the dip sets. But just know that that's just glue. If you look at the ingredients, it is just glue. And you have to put 2 layers because the first layers get sucked by the powders. So you would have to put two layers, and it doesn't stay as shiny as gel top coat, in my opinion. But you can use whatever works for you and whatever you prefer. And this is the end result. I really hope you guys liked it and enjoy it. If you'd like to see anything else, just comment below. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe.